We're so excited to start the school year back in the classroom. It's amazing being back with the children, and I hope that they've really enjoyed their first week so far. Yeah, it's been great. So I'm Miss Ella. I'm Year 2 teacher and the lead teacher for this year. I'm from Australia, and I have spent quite a bit of time in the UK. So I trained as a teacher there, and I've worked in an inner city London school as well as a private school. And I moved over to Malaysia in January and took over 2B from January. So only spent a couple of months in the school before the lockdown, but obviously taught through the lockdown and starting the new year, and really happy to be here. So I'm 2A teacher. Our 2B teacher is Miss Delahaye. Do you want to tell them a little bit about?
Hello, so I turned up last Monday to start teaching here. I've been teaching for quite a long time. I did my training in the UK, and I have taught in 3 schools. I've been teaching for about 20 years now. I've taught in an inner London school, an outer London school, and one in Northwest Kent. So I've taught the whole curriculum during that time.
Okay. And 2C is Miss May.
Yes.
Oh, Miss Go, sorry, Miss Go.
No worries. Right, so I'm Miss Go, and I will be the Year 2 teacher. I have been teaching for about 6 years now. Year 1 for 3 years, Year 2 for 3 years. And yeah, really excited to teach Year 2 again. Yeah.
Okay, so I think now I might start sharing our PowerPoint slides. Let's see. So here we are. Meet the teacher. This is just an overview. Can you just give me a thumbs up if you can see the slides? Sorry, I used this from last year. Okay, fantastic. I just wanted to check. Okay, so these are the subjects that we're teaching this year. So all of us, we teach the core subjects. So phonics, English, maths, science, humanities, and we're teaching art and ICT as well. Our TAs, we have for 2A, Miss Fatini, 2B is Miss Ash, and 2C is Miss Benita. And we're really lucky to have our TAs in the classroom with us. They are, oh, I've got to admit somebody, they are a huge part of the support that we provide to the children, and especially now as well with the safety precautions with COVID-19, they're absolutely fundamental to our time in the classroom. Oh, sorry, I'm still letting people into the room. It keeps flashing up, so it's quite difficult. I should have said as well, if anybody has any questions while we go through the PowerPoint, please make a note of them, because there will be time for questions at the end. But at the moment, it's a bit difficult to keep going between questions and slides. So if you could just make a note and we will answer them at the end. I have here a general outline of the school day. So many of you may know this if you've been in the school already. For those of you who are new, we have 5 main lessons through the day. It says here 7:45 is arrival. This has been shifted slightly forwards now to facilitate better traffic flow with the new precautions. So the students are arriving from 7:30. We have our first lesson at 8 o'clock and then a break at 9. Then 2 lessons, hour-long lessons, which take us till lunchtime. And then lesson 4, lesson 5. And then there is a 30-minute slot at the end of the day, which is used for reading time, circle time, and general pack-up, which takes a bit of time with the, again, the extra COVID precautions at the moment. Okay. Up until this year, obviously, we've run CCAs in the afternoons. We haven't started running them yet this term. I'm waiting for further information from our senior management about when these will be permitted to run. I think there have been some new SOPs which have been introduced, and we are looking at ways which we can implement these to make sure it's safe and following all of the procedures, because previously in our CCAs there would be many different year groups within one particular club, and so we need to look at how we can run these safely. And when I have further information on this, when they will be introduced again, I will let you know as soon as I have it. Okay, our next slide is on the school week. So
Right.
that's Miss May.
Yeah. So as you can see here, these are our timetables. So every class will be having their own timetable. Yeah. So then these timetable will be sent out as when we know that it is already fixed. So far, there are some clashes that are still happening. Once we iron everything out, we will send this timetable to all the parents so that you guys can have an idea of what the lessons are throughout the week. Yeah. We have 5 English lessons a week that will include phonics as well. And then we'll have 4 maths lessons, 2 science, 2 humanities, and then 1 art, 1 ICT. And then we've got 2 PE slots, 1 music slot, and then we've got drama and library. So that's about all the lessons that we have throughout the week.
Okay. And what we'll have a look at now is we'll have a little bit of a look at the overviews of some of the subjects that we study, just so that you have an idea of what we're covering. We'll have a look first at English, which Marjorie, you can talk. Maybe lift your visor up a little bit just so the sound travels.
All right.
You could leave it.
Okay, so the literacy this year we're using real books rather than textbooks. We feel that it's just easier to facilitate, and the children can get engaged more in reading a book from the beginning to the end. We're going to be using the books to develop grammar and comprehension skills using the text in the real book. Now we're using the bear and the piano to start with. It also comes on, there's a lovely video if you wanted to have a little look at it. That's fine to have a look at it and discuss it with your child. It's always a really good thing with books. And so we're doing fiction, then we'll be doing non-fiction, and then we'll be doing poetry.
Yeah.
So that's how it's been split up. So we've got some really interesting, really lovely books that I brought from the UK, but they're also accessible on the internet to have a look at.
Yeah. So within each term, we have 3 different topics which we tend to cover. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. For maths, at GEMS, we have what's called a spiral curriculum. So we have 3 broad topics. So number and problem solving, geometry and problem solving, and measure and problem solving. And we cover each of those 3 broad topics each term. So it's not a repetition of what we've been learning. Each term we explore the same topic, but we go into it in greater depth, with greater complexity, and reinforces previous learning rather than having a single block right at the beginning of the year and then not revisiting it. This is a really nice way to make sure that the children are still activating their knowledge and their learnings consistently throughout the year. As with English, last year we did have textbooks for maths. This year, based on our experience with the textbooks, we've decided that they're not helpful in maths particularly. We think that actually the learning that we can provide is much better, frankly. So we create the lessons, we create worksheets or maths learning for them. We have lots of practical activities. So a big part of our maths lessons is using, it's called CPA, so concrete, pictorial, and abstract. So the concrete is using things like Numicon or blocks for 10s and 1s, counters, cubes, to model what the maths looks like in real life. Pictorial is when you use pictures of those to represent, and then abstract is when you use purely the numbers. And that's sort of the deeper level of understanding when the children can use the abstract, but it's really important to have the concrete and pictorial right through school from year 1 to year 6, because that helps enormously with the learning. Let me just check my notes. Yeah, and we have, I think over the holidays, the I can statements were sent out to parents. So if you wanted to look in any more detail at what we're covering with the maths, you can have a look at the I can statements. Similarly, we send out the weekly updates, which they will list the I can statements, which we are covering that week. So that could be really useful for you if you would like to build on what your child is working on at school. You can have a look, and if you see, for example, that they're learning, addition of 4 or 5 numbers, which is one of our I can statements, which is coming up. You could practice that at home if you like to do a little bit of extra work. I'll talk about homework later in the presentation. We can talk about it in a bit more detail then. Okay. Going on to science.
Right, for science, as you can see here, these will be the topic for year 2. So for this week, we've been looking at environments, so different environments, and we're trying to link these topics with our literacy and as well as our art. So if you look here, we've got light and dark changing materials for term 2, and then light and dark, day and night for term 3. For humanities, so for humanities, these are the 2 topics that we will be going through. We haven't decided the topics for term 2 and 3 yet, because we are still in the midst of discussing what topics that will better suit our children, because a lot of the topics that are in the textbooks are very British based, so Queens of England, so maybe we would like to change that to something that is more relatable to the students of, in Malaysia.
Yeah. So the English, maths and science, they are Cambridge topics. Humanities, that's not a Cambridge topic. So we've previously used other schemes that are quite British focused, and as Miss Go has explained, we want to make it more relevant to Malaysia, because I think that's, exactly. So we have our topics for term 1, and we are deciding what we're aiming for this year as well is to make it a more cross-curricular approach. So we will think about what books we're going to use in English and try and tie that in with humanities, tie that in with science. So there's a theme to the learning. That's the general outline of how we plan to do it. So on to IT.
So with the IT, we're following the UK computing curriculum to teach the objectives. As you can see, the objectives there, they are quite specific, and that's what the children will be using. So we'll be using the IT suite. We started this week on IT talking about safety and internet safety, which is a really important issue with children using the internet these days. Okay.
Yeah. I will say as well, obviously we have the iPads which we bring in. In school here we have a brand new computer lab which is fitted out with brand new monitors, keyboards. So we will be focusing as well on things like simple keyboard and mouse skills, which are really important when it comes to assessments, which I'll talk about next. Obviously up until earlier this year as well, we did have an IT teacher. As it stands at the moment, class teachers are teaching IT. This is something that we are trained to do in primary school. We're qualified to teach that. We have experience teaching it. The level of learning at year 2, it's fairly simple for us to teach. At the moment, I think we'll probably go forward teaching it this term, and then maybe talk later on about an IT teacher, but at the moment we are teaching. Confident that we can deliver it. Our assessment overview. So we do quite a lot of assessment throughout the year. A lot of assessment in year 2 is teacher-based assessment. So it can be, and we use it throughout all of the lessons. It's things like quizzing, questioning, using mini whiteboards to really get a gauge of how much children understand. Our formal assessments, however, so we've just been completing our phonics and reading assessments, and that will allow us to put the children into different phonics classes according to the level that they're at and what they need to learn next. We have, at the beginning of every topic, we have initial assessments and end of unit assessments. So our initial assessments are just finding out what the children know about that topic, how much they can do. So the start of term for us, it looks like we do a little writing assessment, we do a maths assessment, so that we know for our planning where we need to start from and how, where the gaps are, what support needs to be provided, where children need to be extended. And we do that, so we do that for all of our maths topics, and we do that basically for science and humanities as well. And yeah, so term 1, we have phonics assessment. We have GL assessments, which we will be completing in school during our ICT time for over a couple of weeks. We found that previously completing the GL assessments all in 1 week was a little bit much for the children. So we plan to space it out a little bit, and then we can use that data to work with as well. At the end of each term, we have what's called a big write. So that's a writing assessment where, again, it helps us to identify what the children have learned, where the gaps are, and to help us with our planning. And there are a few other more informal assessments that we use, so phonics assessments, tricky words assessments throughout the year. Okay, on to languages.
Right. For languages, we have the kids will have an option. If they are Malaysian, you can see there that it is compulsory for them to have Malay, and then the other option is, another choice is Mandarin. And then if they're non-Malaysians, they get to choose either they want to take French or Bahasa, and then with Mandarin. So for the language teachers, you can see here we've got Miss Azira, with Miss Renu and Miss Farah. I'm sure that your children have already met them. And then we've got Mandarin. For Mandarin, we've got Mr. Dawson or Mr. Tong, Miss Hong and Miss T. Yeah. And then these are the other teachers. French with Miss Jenny, and then music, Miss Peter, and then Miss Claire for drama. So this is one thing new that we have this year is the drama teacher. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. And then this is the PE department. So we've got, depending on which class your child is in, the teacher might be different. So I know 2C, we've got Mr. Dan, and then for 2A and 2B, you guys have Miss Claire, and Miss Nadia will be assisting both teachers.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay, so communicating. If you can email us. We've already emailed you with our introduction. If you want to speak to us, we will reply to them within probably about 24 hours to reply to an email, because we can't do them when we're in school time because we're teaching, but we will try and answer them as soon as we possibly can. If you want to Zoom or call us, if you feel that you want to discuss something a bit more urgently, then we can arrange it by email. And then we do have weekly updates, and the newsletter is provided what they've been doing and what they will be doing in their lessons.
I should have explained as well, we have a parent-teacher evening each term, which follow the reports which go out as well. So if you have any questions or anything to follow on from the reports, you will have a chance to discuss that with us then. In terms of home learning, this has changed a little bit this year. We have two new schemes. We have purchased My Maths, which is a website which has great maths activities, and it'll allow us to move away from the paper-based activities which we've used in the past, because for one thing, again, with coronavirus precautions, we are trying to minimize as much as possible sending things between school and home. We are in the process. I think we have the logins. We should very shortly be able to access the website. I think it's in the final stages of being up and running, and we'll provide logins and information about that as soon as we have it. In the meantime, for this week, we might have something alternate, but we will move towards using My Maths, as that's a program we have. We also have a new Renaissance Accelerated Reader Scheme. So they are home readers, and we'll be using those both in the classroom, but also to send home, because reading with your child is one of the most important things that you can do for their education. Regular reading of 10 to 15 minutes a day is super, essential. So that will be a really, really great part of what we're providing here. So each week we will have maths homework and readers. We will also, when we start our phonics lessons, we will have weekly spellings, which will be sent home. And there may from time to time be an extended project for humanities. That tends to be in the older years though, because year 1 and 2, really, they have a very full-on day of learning at school. It's a long day for them. I'm sure you know by the end of term, they're absolutely exhausted. So for years 1 and 2, they really only need about 20 minutes a day of reading, a little bit of maths, and the homework is really just consolidating what we learn at school. It shouldn't be covering new information. They shouldn't be trying to learn new concepts. It's just it's a recap to consolidate what we've been teaching that week. Okay, and it might be things like spelling, phonics, mental maths facts, and that sort of thing. Okay, and
all right. So for everyday school, your child should be coming into school with the proper uniform. As of now, for year 2s, we don't expect them to change. If they have PE on that day, they just come in their PE kit and they just stay in their PE kit for the rest of the day. So don't bother bringing. But if you want to bring in a change of clothes, just in case something spills, they need a change, by all means do that. Make sure that they have their breakfast before coming in, because so far I've seen some of them who are really hungry by 8:30. So it would be great if they can have their breakfast before school, and then we can have a light snack at 9 o'clock. Please ensure that they are rested 10 to 11 hours. Some of them after lunch they get really, really tired, and sometimes when we have a heavy lesson like English or maths that day, it can be really taxing on them. Yeah, so as you can see, the uniform is black shoes with the gem shirt and shorts or skirt for the girls. And then if they are cold in the class, a vest or the cardigan, a dark colored cardigan if the gems cardigan is not available in the bookstores. Yeah.
Okay. And that's the end of our presentation. I have had a few questions sent in. Thank you so much for doing that. So in case I haven't addressed all of the questions in the presentation, so I'll talk about a few now, and then I'll open it up to anybody at home who would like to ask some questions. I talked about the CCAs. We are, fingers crossed, they will be introduced again soon. School books, we're not sending them home again to try and minimize things being sent from home to school. It's for safety reasons, for the safety of the children, for the safety of everybody at home. That's the reason for why we're not sending home English books, maths books. I had a question about celebrations, so Diwali celebrations. I haven't heard yet about celebrations that we will be having at school while having social distancing. This is something that I would definitely raise with our senior management, with Mr. Tate, if it's something, you know, and I think it would be really nice actually, because it's quite hard for them coming back to school and they can't hug their friends and they can't share their things, and there's a lot of things they can't do. So I think it would be really nice to really have something fun. And yeah, so as yet, haven't heard about what the plans are for having celebrations and how that will be held, but I will definitely raise it and talk about how we can do this at school. As I'm sure many of you from last year are aware, we have discontinued our use of Class Dojo, and that is because we've introduced Phonics Classroom, which is sort of it's like an all-in-one website for teachers and students. Yeah, and parents as well. So the plan is that lots of communications, well, all the communications will be going through Phonics. It will do away with the need for our, emailing, because we can send messages individually through Phonics. We can send messages to the whole year group or just to each class. We can send homework through Phonics. There are a few teething problems. It's been brought in. I apologize if it's been frustrating if some of you haven't received messages or we haven't received messages from you. But the plan is that in Phonics Classroom, there is a behavior section there, which we will hopefully use. And I know as well, Mr. Tate has been talking about using house points as a way to incentivize students and reward good behavior. Because GEMS has very much a positive behavior focus. So we really try and, well, yeah, encourage and motivate children to, do their best and want to do their best. So it involves lots of praise and really celebrating their achievements. Of course, we have sanctions as well for, personally, in my class, I have a warning system, so I will give warnings, and if they aren't listened to, then there will be a sanction, which is usually very minor in class 2, but I think, if things are serious, I think the most
of the time, if it's really serious, we will either have a conversation with the parents. That will probably be the first way to help manage the behavioral problem, is to talk to the parents to see how we can work together to minimize such behavior. And then also with working with other teachers, as of like last year, what we did was we had those little forms that the kid, if they are in trouble, they would, whenever they are going to another class, they would get the teacher to sign off saying that they've behaved well and all that. So
that's very rare though. For the most part, it's just praise and rewards, and we really try and not just reward or praise achievement. It's also about the effort and how much they put into it, and they really try their best. That's really important for us. Pardon? iPads. Oh yeah, iPads. Thanks for reminding me. So I told my class, before I knew that the accelerated reader program was coming in, I told my class to please bring our iPads in every day, because I thought that we weren't going to have books we'd be able to read. So I thought we'd use the iPads for our daily reading. Now that we have our new set of books coming in, you don't have to bring your iPads every day. If you could please send your iPads in on the day that your child has ICT, that would be really helpful. Also with a full battery is extra helpful. And there will be other times during the year when we use our iPads for, again, sort of cross-curricular, using ICT skills in English or humanities. So there will be times when we ask you to send them in for a few days during a week, but that will be occasional, and we will let you know. We will let you know at the time. So as it stands now, iPads on the day your child has ICT. Okay. All right. So that's the end of our presentation. Does anybody have any questions they would like to ask? I'm going to see.
Do you want to just stop the presentation?
Yeah, I'm going to stop the presentation. Thanks, Miss May. Okay. Okay. Lisa, I saw you had your hand up. Did you?
Yes. Hi there. I'm Aaron's mom. He's in year 2C. I have a question regarding peripatetic music lessons. So Aaron had drum lessons in year 1. I'm just wondering whether that has started, or is that going on, or
Okay.
any
I spoke to Miss Peter yesterday. And she said they're in the midst of getting the forms to the parents, I think by the end of this week. And study music should be starting in week 4. Yes. So that is when all the music lessons should start, week 4.
Okay, week 4.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Anybody else? Let's see. I'm scrolling down the list. Yes. Emma's mum. So.
Yes. I just wanted to know, because I don't have any idea of who is the teacher for Emma on Mandarin until this time. So there is actually no email notification to inform the parents who was the teacher assigned for our kids. So I just wanted to know how the ways to know that. And if in cases, because for the previous year, there was an experience that she was moved to another class, but there was no information. There was no information to the parents. So if there's any movement within the level that they need to move down or to move up, because it's like beginner, intermediate, and advanced, will there be any information that parent will know about the move and also the teacher, please?
I think with that, I think once they finalize, because I know there are new students coming in and out this week, I think I can take this up. I mean, I can email the Mandarin department, or even with the Bahasa department, just give them an email. I will get them to sort everyone in the class. Once we get that sorted, we will email the parents and let them know. Yeah. So that will probably be the easiest way of finding out who your language teachers are.
I think they've been assessing this last week as well to try and find the most appropriate level for the children. And once they have finished that, I'll speak with the language department and ask that they email the parents informing who the teacher will be, because I think that's really important for you to know. So yeah, Mandarin and languages. Okay.
Right.
And yeah, if there's any movement, you should be told. So, yeah.
Right. And the second and last question, I just wonder if there is class coordinators this time, because last year there was a group for parents that is easier and it's helpful for the parents to talk to each other.
What sort of group was it? Was it a WhatsApp group or?
Yes, I'm not sure if that's allowed this time, but there's always a class coordinator. And I think that for me as a parent, that was really very helpful.
I think we certainly don't have anything to do with setting up the WhatsApp group. I think perhaps, is it the parent representative?
Yes.
Who,
the liaison, parent
liaison?
Parent liaison. She will be the one who will be trying to get the teachers rep, parent rep for each class set up. I don't know when, but that will be done.
So
but, yeah.
there should be a parent rep who then becomes sort of the go-between from the teacher to the parents' body, just to, I suppose, reinforce emails. And as for the WhatsApp group, again, I think that's probably the parent side of things. But I will email the parent liaison and ask her about it, because it would be helpful for you to have that contact.
Yes.
All right.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you. All right. Any more questions? Let me see. I'm just scrolling through. Yes. Is it?
Sula's mum.
Sula's mum, of course. Sorry, Sula. Yeah. I knew I'd recognize the name and I couldn't remember it from the email.
The chatty boys mum. Okay. Have a question on the art supplies. Are we supposed to bring in any art supplies to the school, like watercolor, crayon, and stuff like that?
No, we supply that.
Okay.
So there was a resource list that was sent out for use within the classroom. We did say it would be really helpful if they had, obviously, writing pencils, colored pencils, glue,
Okay.
their masks, sanitizers. That was optional. Obviously, we are just sort of minimizing the sharing, so that's why we suggested that would be helpful.
Okay.
Supplies, no, you don't have to supply any of that. We're seeing to that, and we have that covered.
Okay. Because for my year four group, I mean my year 4 boy, the teacher actually requested us to send in the art supplies due to the social distancing and the COVID thing. They are not sharing the watercolors. That's why I asked for the year 2 group, do we need to do the same so that I can get it all at one shot, you see?
Yeah, it's not, I think certainly.
If we do need it, we'll let you know.
Yeah, but
Okay.
We're not asking parents to provide art supplies in year 2.
Okay.
So
Thanks.
We'll make sure that there is enough for every child.
Yeah.
We've got the art food stocked,
yeah.
and then
Okay.
All right.
Good.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Let me see. I'm scrolling through trying to see all the parents. Are there any more questions, please?
But
Your
you can send
hand
them
up.
if they think about it later on.
Yeah. Is
Parents,
that?
yeah.
Yes, Lucas's father. I can see. Hi.
Yes, okay, I've unmuted myself. We mentioned earlier about the Phonics system. So we've not received any information or login details about Phonics. So I was wondering whether it's already been shared or it's pending.
It hasn't been shared yet because they're still ironing out some teething problems. So once everything is up and running, smooth as butter, hopefully, then we'll send out the information to the parents. As of now, I think the best way to communicate with us is through email.
Yeah. I've tried without any luck at all, sending messages through Phonics.
Yeah,
so
I think I sent one and only one parent replied to me. So I'm like, oops,
Yeah.
I think the best way for now is just.
So for the moment, emails is definitely the way to go. And when the system's running smoothly, that's when we'll transition over.
Great,
Is the
thanks.
Phonics-
But when you do the transition, could you just send an email out so every parent is aware?
Yes, we will do. We'll send an email out. We'll put it in the weekly update. We'll make sure that it's you don't miss out on the
Thank you.
over. Okay. All right. Okay.
Yes, Miss Lisa.
Yes.
Hi, I just wanted to clarify, the Phonics, is it an app?
I am for now for us teachers, we are using it as a website. We are not very sure whether the parents will get an app version of it. But basically, if you are a teacher, you sign in as a teacher. If you're a parent, you sign in as a parent. And I know for the secondary students, they sign in as a student. So teachers assign homework on that platform as well. But as of now, we're not very sure how the parents' interface will look like.
Yeah. I'm sorry, we haven't had information on that yet. Okay. If anybody does have any questions later on, please do email them through to us, and we can, what we will perhaps do if we get quite a few emails with questions, we will compile a list of FAQs and we can send that out to parents as well. For now, I can't see anybody else with their hand up. No. Okay, so again, please send in any questions that you do have, and we will do our best to answer them.
Rebecca? Is that Rebecca?
Oh, sorry, Rebecca.
Sorry.
I was looking for the physical hand. Sorry, Rebecca's mum.
Sorry, we would like to clarify if Rebecca still need to bring iPad to school every day. Just now, I can't hear clearly just now.
Oh, that's okay. So no, only on days with ICT.
Okay.
I did say every day because I thought we'd use them for reading, but we won't. So just ICT, and otherwise we will let you know.
All right, sure. Thank you.
All right. Sula's mum, is that your hand up again, or is that from before? Oh, it's from before. Okay. Okay, Jason Key.
Thanks for the session. Just a quick check whether will we be receiving the slide deck that you have just presented earlier?
Yes, yep, I will email it out.
With the
If that's
recording,
helpful.
with the
Yeah,
recording.
with the recording. So that will be
Alright.
included.
Thanks. On the Phoenix classroom, I think I did receive an email. I think it's on top of the GEMS online payment portal. It's the same username and password for the other parents if they wanted to try to access the Phoenix classroom. Just for info. I think yeah.
Okay,
it's
thanks.
in the GEMS online payment email. You can just refer to that. It's the
So the
same
GEMS
username.
online payment email and the same username and password.
That's right.
Okay, all right.
Thank you.
So thank you. more help than I was. Okay.
Okay, thanks. I
Alright,
got
thank
to
you
drop
very
off.
much.
Thank you very much. Bye.
Okay. Right. Any more? I can't see any more questions. No. Okay. All right. Well, thank you so much for joining us. It was really nice to be able to see you. Obviously, actually, what I didn't say as well is at the end of the day, if there's just something quick that you want to ask or let us know, that's also a good time when you pick your child up. Obviously, quite quick, but otherwise, email's great. Happy to have a Zoom call if you want to chat about something. And, you know, we will be in contact with weekly newsletters and updates. Exactly. Okay. So really nice to see everyone. And we're really excited about this year. I think.
See you around school.
Yeah, exactly. Thanks everybody for joining us.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye bye.
Bye bye. Bye, Aaron.